Peeked out for a second.
So, Pete, like, I guess the first question that I had for you was, how did you find transitioning from being a professional fighter to owning a gym and coaching? Did you have things that you changed, like being a fighter to when you became a coach?
About 7 years before I retired from fighting, I started thinking, what am I going to do when I retire? Because I just had no idea, and I thought one of my old coaches said to me, stick to what you know.
Yeah.
So I started looking around for a gym, even back then. So I wanted to be really busy by the time I retired, so I wouldn't, you see so many. Well, I saw so many fighters go from, being awesome and having great lives and making money, and then stop fighting, and their life would just, 2 years later, their life would be shit house. So I went, I got to make sure that I got something going on, and I'm busy, so I don't get too messed up. Because when I finished fighting, it was really hard. I said it before that not fighting and finishing fighting was way harder than than starting.
Yeah.
So I just said, as long as I'm super busy, I'll be okay. It's still hard though. I still prefer to fight all the time than run a gym.
But I mean, I guess you've paved the way for a lot of people because your fight career has been extremely long.
Yeah, as a pro, 17 years is really long. But I think there's a lot of people who become fighters because they want to look a certain way or do a certain thing, or have a perceived image. Or I wanted to fight because I want to be a fighter, and I wanted to be pro because I looked at it like a job.
Yeah.
And it got me from being shit kicking nobody to having a family and means and get to see the world, and it gave me everything that being a fighter is supposed to do for you in a positive way. It did for me. But and also wanted to make sure that at the end I didn't end up some loser, alcoholic, drunk, or some drug addict, or some I was going to say biker, but I don't mean biker in a way that in a bad way. I mean as in just some too big criminal. I mean, if you're successful and that's what you're always doing, but you see some people start to hang around gangs and stuff, and then but when they finish their career and not famous anymore, they say, well, you can fuck off now. You're an idiot anyway. And we'll go and party with the next big guy. And you see people kind of fall into that trap and they end up in jail or, just losers. So I didn't want that to happen.
Do you feel like, you personally, because you started at Kyokushin Karate, do you think that traditional route taught you all the discipline and all that stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Kyokushin set me up for the basis of the way that I try to conduct my life.
Yeah.
Every morning when I lived in Japan as a uchideshi, when I was living in the dojo, wake up and we'd sing the dojo kun, the dojo oath in Japanese, and I say it every day. And it was a good set of morals and values that I try to live my life by. So it definitely, and also my instructor, a guy called Graham Porter, was someone I really looked up to. He was tough. He was strong-minded, had a big family, beautiful wife, and a really successful business. I thought, maybe I'm going to try to emulate what he did. I want to be like that. I thought he's such a good guy. And, and I had some other good guys in the dojo as well. I want to end up like that. I don't want to end up, this has got to make my life better. Because I started when I was about 17, almost 18, and I always felt like I was behind everyone else, oh man, I've got to play catch up, I've got to play catch up. Everyone else is so far ahead that if I don't work 10 times harder as everyone else, I'm just going to never make it. So there's always that pressure to make sure that when I moved to that next step, it was always good. And even with it running a gym, I think, okay, well, there's been people doing it for a long time and a lot of time more than me. So I always kind of felt I've got to work hard to do it. But it was still hard.
And do you feel like that internal drive to succeed is always something that's pushed you forward?
Yeah, I always had that drive. But what I think it comes from is that feeling of not quite living up to the, not quite making the grade, because I always went to a new school, always went to, a new place that I lived in, because I lived in refuges when I was a kid and teenager and stuff like that. And always feeling like not quite cutting the mustard. And so I always got that feeling that I've got to succeed. I've always got to prove myself. There's the logic part of your brain that says, hey, you're doing fine. But then there's that other part, the part that the way that you see yourself or whatever it is like, it's not really real. And that part has always pushed me to be better.
So
is that noise in the background really noisy?
No, that's
yeah.
Worry about it, mate. It's all good. So, I guess, so was it kind of like a natural progression from when you started doing your uchideshi for Kyokushin and then you ended up staying in Tokyo for your K1 days? It was just kind of natural, right?
Oh, I didn't stay in Tokyo then. I went back to Australia.
Yeah, and then you went.
And then I went, I had a really firm idea of what I needed to do.
Yeah.
And what I wanted. And that's when I started doing kickboxing as well as doing karate. I was doing both all the time. And then I was going all the karate tournaments, all the kickboxing fights. And then I ran out of people to kickbox. I started boxing. Just always, within my goal of going back to Japan. I just, because you remember in the 90s, K1 was there was just nothing else like it.
Oh, yeah. And for me, I'm half Japanese, right? And I'm half Kiwi. You met my brother 12 years ago.
Yeah.
For him and I, when he rang me and he's like, oh, I met Peter Graham, that was like for a Kiwi kid meeting an All Black.
Yeah.
Because for us, when we're in Japan, every year we're at my grandma's, we're watching K1. We're like 8 or 9.
Yeah, it's awesome though, huh?
And how many times can you say in Australia that you've had the same sort of crowds? You probably never have.
Oh, no way. There's I think the biggest crowd, only a couple of thousand at the most. Maybe when I fought Stan the Man or something like that.
Whereas when you fought in Japan, did you fight at the Saitama Arena?
Yeah, Tokyo Dome, Saitama Arena, Yokohama Dome, Nagoya Dome, I think it's called as well. So all the big 40,000, I must have fought in front of 40,000 people maybe 20 times.
And the thing that the people don't understand these days, Peter, is like people always talk about UFC and everything like that, but you guys were doing it before all that stuff came about.
I guess so, yeah.
Like the big crowds and
massive crowds. Chase you down the street and everything. It's cool.
Oh, yeah. So I guess, like, how did you, when you had that vision in your mind of who or what you wanted to be, how did you decide on who to put around you for your fight camps and stuff when you went to Japan? What made you decide, okay, I'm going to have this person and that person in my corner?
When I first turned pro, Lucy Tui was my manager from Australia. Alex Tui was my coach. And I trained out of Mundine's gym in Redfern. It was me, Auckland Umatangi, and Mark Hunt. And we just went to training. It wasn't like I made some, real mapped out path. I just thought, I'm just going to fight everyone. I'm going to beat everyone. And I just, it was almost like a competition between me, Mark, and Auckland. All we did was beat the crap out of each other every day and try to out-train each other every day and just win more fights. And that was really good that we had that. But I never had a training camp, so to speak. I just went to the gym. I lived 300 meters from the gym, and the only thing I wanted to do was fight and train. So I just said yes to every fight, every single fight. I just said yes. And as soon as there was no break, it wasn't like I wasn't even concerned about the party afterwards. I just wanted to fight. I just wanted to win titles. I just wanted to get to Japan. Just wanted to fight K1. I want to make money. I want to be famous. I wanted to be better than what I was. So that's all I thought about. And I just thought, and I also thought that I didn't have any other way to do it. Like, I didn't have education. I didn't have, even then, I didn't have much money. I didn't have, like family. It was just me. So I just went, that's it. By that time, I was a lot more stable in my life, but I was just desperate for success, like desperate. People say, "Oh, you're desperate," and I said, "Well, yeah, man, I was." That's all I think about. How can I train more? How can I be better? How can I fight more? How can I win the next title? How can I get to the next place? What am I going to do? That's it. That's all I ever thought about.
Yeah, and I guess like that, I've heard like different opinions from different people, but for you, obviously, living and breathing the lifestyle 24/7 worked, right? And it still does, obviously.
Yeah. It's it's like a surfer, right? I kind of live near the beach in Sydney. I live in a beach suburb, and if you're a surfer, no one really has to motivate you to go surfing.
Yeah.
If there's surf, they want to surf. If you play golf, you want to play golf. If you're a dancer, you want to dance. If you're a painter, you want to paint. I was a fighter. I'm a fighter. I still am a fighter. The way that I look at myself, I want to fight. I want to be the best. I want to be a champ. I want to have that belt around my waist. I want to have that feeling, hold my hands up at the end of the fight. I want to have that bunch of cash. I want to be able to have a big gold chain with with boxing gloves on it to say, "Look, man, I got so much money. I got spare money. I can buy myself a gold chain." I don't wear it anymore, but that's a thing, right? It's like, you start off and you have a teensy weensy little tin boxing glove on a copper chain or something. And then, you see Money Mayweather, he's got ones where it's got, just rows and rows of diamonds on a big, massive glove, only wears just to say, haha, I got more money than God.
Yeah.
It was a thing. That's my whole way I looked at everything, everything. I'm a fighter. That's it.
Yeah.
Those values, those things that are important to other fighters were exactly the same as me.
Yeah. Because I remember like when you would go to press conferences, a lot of guys would wear just like T-shirts and stuff. You always wore a suit. You're very professional with everything you did. That was what I think anyway, having followed you for so long.
You know what it is, though? I always looked at it and said, this is my job. And I remember once I went to, where was it? Croatia. There was a big show put on. I trained my butt out for it. And the fight got cancelled when we were there. And it got cancelled because they didn't invite Branko Šikotić. And Branko said, this is what I heard. Branko said, that's it. You didn't invite me. You disrespected me. I'm going to burn the joint down or something. And everyone went, oh, shit, we've got to stop. Who knows, what actually happens in those kind of... Anyway, the guy said, look, we'll give you some money, but we're not going to give you the whole money. We're going to have it. We'll talk about it later on.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So I put my suit on, and I came to see him, and he goes, oh, you got a suit on. Why you got a suit on? I said, well, when I go for a run, I wear a tracksuit. When I do business, put on a business suit. And he went, oh. And I told him, I said, look, man, I expect all my money. He goes, what are you talking about? There was no fight. And these guys all, what they're like, European, they're all gangsters and stuff. He's like, And I said, look, man, I trained 100% for the fight. I came 100% all the way to the fight. We have a contract that says that I will fight and I'll fight. I said, I don't care who I fight. get anyone you like. If you want, I'll fight someone in the car park. But I expect to be paid 100% for the fight. And I was serious. There's not much I could have done if he said, stick it up your ass. But I was serious that, you know, that's how I treated everything. It was just 100% serious about everything that I did and do. And he goes, I respect that. He goes, okay. So I'm going to pay you, but don't tell anyone else. Of course, it was a while ago, a long time ago. So I guess it doesn't matter now. But that's my point. You know, it's like when you got to do something, you're either in or you're out. And that's always the way I've been. It was just like, you know, what I choose to do, I'm going to see it through to the end, even if I fail 500 times before, which I have many times. You know, it's not like I just had a clear run all the way to the top or anything.
Yeah, and that's what I guess, like, you always stood out for me. And I'll take you back to that moment with Butter Harry.
Yeah.
You know, where at the press conference you said, you know, yeah, as fighters, you can talk a bit, but at the end of the day, it's about if you can fight, not if how much you can talk.
Yeah. So, exactly what I just, you know, it's not a press conference. That's part of it.
And that's
you know,
what
you have a look at guys like Conor McGregor and so forth. You know, they got the press conference, but then they put together the fight as well. But it's not just about how well you can talk or how well you can do all the other things. You know, it's not how well you can train or, you know, how expensive your gloves are, or, you know, who's putting your diet together and how many followers you have on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Those things are important. You know, you got to be a somebody. You got to be interesting. People got to like you or hate you or something, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the be all and end all of being a fighter. You know, you got to have something. You got to be something to someone somewhere, and you got to fucking, you know, you got to dance the dance on the day too. You know, when you turn up, you got to fight to win every single time in, time out. You know, that consistent, you know, level of excellence is important to get the way to the top, because there's really only a few ways to get to the top. You know, you fight all the time and you win all the time, or you're really popular because there's a whole group of people who really love you. Yeah. You know, you're like in Australia, we used to have like lots of Greeks and Italians in Melbourne, and they're just, you know, Greeks and Turks. Greeks versus Turks, you know, it's like they used to sell out stadiums in Victoria all the time, and that was always popular. So you got to have something, but then to get all the way to K1, you've got to have a broader base, I guess. But then you could be like someone like Mark Hunt. He just knock people out. It's like, I'm coming whether you like me or not. I'm not trying to be cool or not cool or anything. It's just, you know, he wasn't looking for a target market. He just, you know, smoked people. Or Ernesto, who's so unbelievably talented. You know, it didn't matter if he was very charismatic or not. And I think that's the thing. You know, you got to have something. And the press conference is important too, because you want people to come. You know, it is after a while, it's a popularity contest. You know?
Yeah, and that's very interesting that you say that, because, you know, I grew up watching you. So now that I'm managing fighters, sending them to where you fought, I've had to tell a couple of my guys, you know, you need a suit, you need a tie, you need shoes, and they're like, mate, it's a fight. I'm like, this is Japan. It's a whole week. You know what it's like. It's a whole week leading up to your fight, interviews, all that stuff. It's not like Aussie or New Zealand where you turn up the day before, weigh in and fight.
Yeah. Well, I always say this: you're paid for the training, and you're paid for the week of the fight and the weigh-in and all that, and you get to fight for free.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because if you're only fighting for the money, it's not going to work. You're paid to go to the gym. You're paid for the press conference. You're paid to, you know, take photos with fans. You're paid to, you know, take interviews with people. All the things that after a while can become a bit tough. You know, always taking, you know, one interview after another. You know, in Japan especially, not so much in Australia and New Zealand. You know, you can be like, oh man, what about some time for me? I said, well, someone's paying you a lot of money, and people are looking up to you and stuff like that. You just got to say, okay, this is part of the job. You know. be careful what you wish for. You might just get it, right?
Yeah, because and that's the thing, I guess. Like, I've had a few of my fighters have like a culture shock when, you know, they're used to 20 or 30 of their mates coming to support them versus packed out stadiums in Japan.
Oh, it's a big learning curve, because you might be really talented, but I don't think anything prepares you for Japan. There's just nothing in Australia and New Zealand. It's just Japanese fans, and the way that Japanese people look at combat sports is so much different from the rest of us.
So what was your first experience like fighting in Japan?
In K1, I mean, I knew what was going on. I was just desperate to get there. I didn't want to get. I just had blinkers on almost. You know, to me, the only thing was getting there and staying there. So once I had my first one, I fought Jan Norjay, the giant from South Africa.
Oh, yeah.
It's about 6'10", 6'11", big, massive South African boy.
Nice
guy. I live with.
That's quite nostalgic, like Mike Bernardo, all those guys.
Yeah. So, and then the next fight I lost. We had two fights. It was a tournament. And then I fought Adam White, and Adam White drilled me because he was such a good boxer. Yeah. But then I was like, man, they're never going to ask me back. So all I could think about was training harder and being better. And I don't know, I didn't think the fans were there for me. I'm like, they don't care about me. I mean, looking back, I can see some of them obviously were, but I don't know. I just thought, I didn't think that anyone was really there for me. I just thought they just kind of had to put me there because I won the tournament or something. So I never felt like I was meant to be there. I always felt like if I don't do better, they're just going to say, "Oh, we'll get the next person." Why do you want some white guy from Australia that no one really follows? That's what I thought. I thought no one's going to care about me. Who am I? I'm not interesting. I didn't have like a really big group of fans that thought it was awesome. I come from a gym that's full of, it was set up for Aboriginal people and Polynesians and stuff like that. I was the white guy from the brown gym.
Yeah, well, it's
I was like, yeah. So I'm like, even my own gym, I felt that it wasn't even, like there that much, by heaps of people. So it's like, it's not like when we put on a show that everyone from Mundine's gym came to watch us fight.
Yeah.
And it's not just me, that's Mark and Auckland as well. We just fought. We just thought this is a way we can make it. So and it wasn't hard for me. People say, "Oh, you're so humble." I said, "It's not really humble. I never thought that all the fans and all the people and everything were there for me. So it didn't occur to me. And I figured, I can go in a minute anyway. So I just thought I'll just be nice and enjoy the ride."
Yeah. And I guess like people who are just kind of getting into the fighting and stuff now, they don't know the magnitude of what K1 was like when you were at the pinnacle of it. Because the weight classes that I manage now, 55 kg to 70 kg, there's no heavyweights anymore. So people forget, like, it's very different when you've got a 55 or 70 kg dude fighting compared to guys your weight who have knockout power, and you're fighting 2 to 3 times in one night, Yeah,
they were massive tournaments and huge guys, like who the shortest guys, Mark Hunt was one of the shortest guys. Mark Hunt and Nicholas Pettis, Mighty Mo, but when it's Samoan or Tongan or Rarotongan or Māori, it's being so tall, it's not so they're just everyone like they're just always so strong, such a genetic thing, and then when they got the determination to win, unbelievable. Like you think of Ray Sefo, the way that he moved and everything. It was so, when he turned up to a fight and wanted to win, unbeatable. So that plays a part, but some of the other guys, towards the end, like Hong Man Choi, 7 foot something, but all the other guys, all the Dutch guys, they're like 6'5", 6'6".
Oh yeah.
That's really tall. Like I'm 6'3", and when you go there and you're the shortest person on the card,
Yeah.
where you're walking around and, because there's so many Dutch guys, all their friends are really big as well. It's like, man, you guys are huge. And, I guess from a business point of view, I thought, I guess they don't want too many Aussies and Kiwis because, between all of Australia and New Zealand, there was only like 30 million people.
Oh yeah.
It'd be better if you got, some European superstar or, or all the other kind of countries that can produce so many more people to watch it. So I just thought, I really got to keep working for my place, because I'm competing with, Ray Sefo and Mark Hahn and, all the other superstars from Australia and New Zealand. And I thought, wow, they need one of us really. And that is, they don't want to have a card full of Kiwis and New Zealanders. Sorry, Kiwis and Australians.
Yeah, but then they started to put together the K1 Oceania series, which you fought on, right?
Yeah.
So I guess like
K1 Oceania with Dixon McIver was awesome. And when Tarek Solak and Dixon McIver were promoting, I remember we filled out stadiums in New Zealand. Like when I knocked out Badahari, it was packed.
Oh yeah.
It couldn't have happened in front of a better crowd. And it was pumping. I'm sure everyone who was there that night will never forget it for the rest of their life.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
if there was a kickboxing fight show in New Zealand that went off like a frog in a sock, that was the one.
I don't think.
Like I wonder how many people there say that was the best night kickboxing in New Zealand ever.
Yeah, there's never been anything like that in this country after that. That's I know that for sure. And that's been what, like 14 years now?
14 years ago, yeah. A while ago.
So I guess like my next question for you, Pete, is who would you say is like your most notable athlete or fighter that you've coached personally? Like your most memorable moment. They don't have to be the best fighter, but in terms of heart or anything like that that sticks in your mind.
The one who worked the most? Let me think. Everyone is different in their own way. It's such a hard question to answer because everyone has their own story.
I'll ask you a question then. What was it like training my friend Steve Moxon?
Steve Moxon was very determined.
Yeah.
He really wanted to win. He really wanted to get to the top. I don't know. I thought that he could be better though. He kind of unfortunately did well when he was with us, but then I think he suffered from. He thought the pastures were greener on the other side.
Yeah.
And he achieved some success, and then he did achieve some success, but then there was still a long way to go. Like he worked really hard to get to a pretty good level.
Yeah.
But then I think he thought that, I've done really well. I can do even better without you guys, or I can do better somewhere else, or do better, in a different situation, or I'm going to be fine without you guys. But the reality is, if you've got a team that's, making you win,
you
should definitely stick to it. And I think he could have done that a little better. But certainly a talented athlete. For someone who was, short for his weight, meaning not short at all, but short for his weight, I felt it was tough for him to make weight all the time. Like he really had to work hard on his diet, because he held, he's Caucasian, but he had a body shape like a Polynesian. So he just super strong, super hardworking, dedicated, good guy. But he could have done could have done a lot better.
Yeah, and do
But
you
I see that happen with a lot of people. They get a certain amount of success, or they get a certain amount of money or fame, or win a certain title, or even just have a fight. And so that's it. That's good. I'm fine. I've achieved what I wanted to do in the sport, or I've achieved what I think I can do in the sport, and then stopped or given up or taken a track which is just seems silly to everyone else, but they do it. And I could be wrong. Maybe he just didn't put any thought into it at all. But I just think that I see that happen to a lot of people. They do okay, and just before they're going to make it, they do something really stupid and fuck it up. You like go out and get drunk before the fight, or get arrested, or or don't make weight, or whatever it is that they've done every other time perfectly. This is their chance to make it, and they self-sabotage themselves, and that's always sad. And then there's the guys or the fighters who just do the right thing at the right time, or it looks like they're going to lose, or it looks like they can't do it, and everyone kind of goes, well, he's not really the guy, she's not really that tough, or he's a kind of slightly short, fat Polynesian guy. Boom, knock him out. And so, obviously I'm talking about Mark. But that's what happened. Like, you can't understand how much people used to just not think he was any threat whatsoever. I remember, I used to spar Mark all the time, and I'm like, you guys are idiots. This guy's fast, he's fit, he's determined, all these things. But you turn up to the fight show, and I was like, oh, geez. And you'd hear people talking about him, and you go, oh my God, you people are stupid. They're really stupid. Who hurt you? And
that takes me to my next point. So you fought Marius Pudzianowski.
Yeah.
World's strongest man, massive, ripped, everything like that.
Yeah.
And how long was that fight? You ground and pounded him within probably a minute or less?
Was it the second round? I think I stopped him.
Yeah.
That's like I remember when training for that fight, I just was thinking, for all the people in the world who are fighters, I got to stop this guy, because he's no disrespect, he's a fighter, but he's he come from the opposite. He's like a strongman competition. I can't have one of those types of guys beat me. So I'm a fighter. I'm not something else. And I thought, for all the people who are the real deal, work their asses off to be a fighter, so just can't have someone like that beat me.
Yeah.
And I come up with what I call Larry Papadopoulos came up with what we call the double tap. Just touch the inside of the lead knee, so they you try to look like or fake to them that you're going to shoot in a single or double leg in MMA, of course, and then smack them with that uppercut, and it worked perfectly. Because you've got to slow it down a bit.
Down.
Breaking up a bit.
Then you finished him on the ground too.
Yeah, keep it simple, ground and pound. Yeah, the crazy thing was that I remember going down to the ground in the first round, and I thought, wow, this guy's going to be so strong. And he wasn't at all. So I guess all his strength was sport specific. So if your nan wants to do some gardening and move all those big pots around, he's your man, not me.
That's all static, just moving stuff up and down or in a straight line. It's not grappling with someone.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Yeah, it's he's very sport specifically strong. So
so I guess how did you, because you've fought so many different kinds of people, so many different codes of martial arts, how do you feel like that's helped you be a good or better gym owner now that you're bringing up the next generation? Or you've got managers and stuff, but you've got so much experience to be able to tell them, do this and do that?
I guess it comes from like, going back to Kyokushin, and karate, real karate was developed so the little guy could beat the big guy
Yeah.
in everything. Obviously I'm not the little guy, but it wasn't designed just to win karate tournaments. They're all fun, and I think they're really good. I used to be quite hard-nosed against all the kind of funny divisions, but now I'm like, oh no, I get it. Not everyone is going to be a hard, son of a bitch who's going to beat the crap out of people all the time, and it's cool. I mean, all the other fun things they got in karate tournaments is good. I don't know if I want my two daughters going there beating the crap out of other people or vice versa. Maybe it's, it was needed for me. I needed to do it. It was the right place for me to beat the crap out of someone. But karate says to you, real karate. When I say real karate, I mean if you really are living the way, if you really understand it in its truest sense, is that you should be able to beat anyone, any style, at any time, even multiple groups of people, no matter what.
Yeah.
And so if you live by that ethos, you say to yourself, okay, after you've done well in a few karate tournaments, I say, well, maybe I'll go in a slightly different set of rules. And maybe, because obviously I'm a striker, right? I say, well, I'm going to challenge myself. There's all those grapplers and judo guys, judokans and wrestlers and jiu-jitsu people who can choke me the fuck out and throw me on the floor like I'm a bitch. I got to be able to work with them. So I worked with judokans. I was over in Team Quest in America, working with all the elite of wrestlers. Terry Sokaju, of course, probably the best guy in the world, never to win a gold medal for judo. So,
Yeah.
and I worked really hard being able to, beat alone. So all the different fights I went into was just me trying to improve my way of fighting, the way that, my karate was beat everyone at everything. There's no use saying, okay, we're going to teach you all these, oiski, yakuski, basic punches if you can't beat a boxer. Saying, well, that guy's better than you. It's no good saying, hey, I'm a black belt in karate, I'm a second dan, and then a guy who's been doing boxing for a year comes and beats boxes your ears off. Then it's just for, health and fitness, which is good, and confidence, this is good too. But don't give me this bullshit that you really know karate. That's just like saying, a lot of karate moves, and a lot of karate techniques. You might know some kata and some forms and some patterns, and that's really beautiful, man. It's excellent. I'm not knocking that, but there's a difference between that and a fighter, a true fighter, someone who's truly doing karate and following the way that it was taught. Should be able to choke the fuck out of a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Should be able to hip toss a judokan. Whatever it is, you should be able to, stuff an elite wrestlers. They come in for a single or double. All those things are super important if you really understand it. If you have and also it's tough because almost all karates around the world are teaching you to win tournaments. Their set of rules.
Yeah.
And I understand that. It's become monetized and people got to make money. It's tough, and that doesn't bother me. But if you really want to follow the way of it, you got to push yourself. You got to. That's what I did. I used to think the guy Sosei Masayama, the guy who started Kyokushin, was awesome. I'm like, man, this guy was punching out bulls. We're going to fight guys who are wrestlers, and you got to go fight anyone. And I was really tied with Nicholas Pettos, the guy they call the Blue-Eyed Samurai in Japan, the last Uchideshi, so to speak. And he was super tight with Sosei, and he told me a whole bunch of stories about Sosei that other people don't know about. I'm like, man, that guy's just an animal. I'm not going to say him. I'll leave it up to Nick to say it to people one day because it's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's it. This guy's got everything, and and he was worldwide famous. He had a good family. He made a lot of money. I thought this is it. Those types of people are the people I look up to. But I didn't want to say that to people because people go, well, what makes you think you're going to do it? Who are you? You're just some guy from Sydney. You're some street kid with no parents and all that stuff. So I never kind of really told people. I just kind of worked at it really hard. But that was important, that I fought lots of people. And also just to keep finding a way to keep fighting people, because in 2008, in the economic downturn in Japan, we went from fighting all the time to nothing. Even people like Peter Ertz weren't getting paid. You know, I remember talking to him once saying, "Oh yeah, man, I haven't got paid for this fight for a year." I'm like, "What?" Now they eventually ended up paying him, because that's what they're like. Like, you know, Japanese are really good like that. You know, culturally, you know, if they say something, they're going to do it. You know, they're not kind of types of people to lie. But you know, there was no fights, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to start MMA, because in Japan you can't box and you can't do kickboxing. You can do MMA and you can do kickboxing, but not boxing and kickboxing and MMA, because the boxing people, they're just boxing.
Yeah.
Those group of gangsters don't like those group of gangsters, and never the two shall come together. And it doesn't. You don't see people who are kids, not like Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah.
You go, oh, well, so I went, okay, I've got to train MMA. And hey, you know, there's my MMA career started off fantastically. I just got stopped, and I got stopped, and I got stopped, and I got stopped, and I got stopped. And it wasn't until I beat
submissions, right?
Say again, please.
It was mostly like submissions that you got finished by.
All submissions.
Yeah. I don't think anyone beat you at your own game in MMA, from what I know.
No, no one, never. No striking losses at all. In the Bellator heavyweight final, we went the distance with Czech Congo. He can strike. He's a good striker. That was a tough day at the office.
You know?
Pardon?
He's a pretty big name fighter. I mean, he was in the UFC. He's athletic, cool.
Yeah, super cool, man. He's a nice guy too. But that was the thing, you know. It's like I had to keep going, and you had to always, you know, sometimes you got to take a chance. Like when I went to go to fight Alexander Emelianenko in Russia, I got paid only for one ticket to go there, so not even a second.
Shit.
I got paid $2,000 US. $2,000 US.
Bloody hell.
And that was it. But if I didn't take that chance, my MMA career was dead in the water.
Well, you stopped him by leg kicks, right?
Yeah, then ground and pound.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, right? You know, once you got something, you just work on that same thing. But man, that guy could hit hard. You know, he hit me so hard that for the next, it was near Christmas, and I went back to Brazil because I was training in Brazil for that fight.
Yeah.
And then for the next 2 or 3 weeks, I couldn't smell or taste anything.
Shit.
But you got to take a chance. You got to, you know, and I was willing to do that. Mind you, though, in the defense of the wonderful people in Russia, they doubled my purse, then gave me a win bonus, and then they paid for my wife's airfare. So they gave me a whole bunch of cash after and said, "Hey, that was really good, super good, great people." They were really, really happy for me to win. So I was like, "Man, I love Russia."
Yeah, because I mean, like, I guess you've fought all around the world, and I wanted to ask you, what was it fighting in Russia against Fedor's brother? Just around the whole thing, you know, like you rock up, they pay for one flight, $2,000, and then you beat the hometown favorite, and then they're like,
"Oh, massive hometown favorite." It was really, it was what you think it would be. You know, you get there, freezing cold. We get off this really old aeroplane that I thought was going to fall out of the sky when I first got into it. I thought, no way. And then I was there with my wife. I got in, and I sat down, and the seats kind of went bloop in the middle. And I went, oh no. And I went to the toilet. The toilets were like, you know, like the festival toilets, you know, they just got the metal rim.
Yeah.
And I came back and I said to him, I said, "Babe, if you need to go to the toilet, you need to go right now, because you don't want to see these toilets after 3 or 4 people go to them who've been drinking all night or something." And there was no, you know how you got the baggage compartment above you in the middle of the plane?
Yeah.
That wasn't it. It was just all open. And it was like, oh my God. I was like, this plane just looks like a heap of shit. And I was serious. I said to my missus, I said, babe, I said, if you want to get off the plane, let's go now. Otherwise, cross your fingers and let's hope it's the middle of winter in Russia, right? And we're going from, I think we're in Moscow going over to Canada or right over to the other side of Russia. I think middle of winter. I said, damn. Anyway, so we got there and we get out, freezing, onto the tarmac. It's not like I'm used to cold weather. Not that kind of cold weather. And then we go over, and then there's a budo. Welcome to Russia, come with us, please. We go straight there, straight to the weigh-in. I'm exhausted. And then there's Alexander Melianko. He's a big dude, he's taller than me, about 6'5", and he has all his cronies with him in, black leather jackets. Like, this is like a movie, man. This is crazy. And then we go to the hotel, and it's like, oh man, dodgy hotel. Not super dodgy, but not like Australia, New Zealand standard, And I'm like, oh man, this is such an adventure. And then they just kind of left you there, and they're like, oh yeah. And then I was like, went to the press conference, and like he's like, Mark said in his book that he felt nothing when he went to go and fight, just none. And I see that, but there's only ever been a few people who are like that. I remember looking at Alexander, who's looking down at me, and he's such a imposing human being.
Yeah.
That you just go, what the fuck? This guy's just so, I don't know, angry or violent. There's some kind of feeling you feel out of him. It's like, I don't know if he just practiced being a hard cunt, but this one certainly came across as, and I just thought, just going to have to keep it together massively, to be able to beat this guy. And that's what happened. Like, even when I walked out, there was just like, everyone's like, and I was getting pumped up, and told me the last minute to come in, and didn't have gloves for me, and all those kind of things happened. And I remember just looking and just saying, okay, I just felt my feet on the ground, took a deep breath. I say to myself, I'm going to keep fighting until there's no fight in me anymore. That's it. 100% resolved to go until, I'm either knocked out cold or dead or whatever. And that's, to have that kind of attitude sometimes is, you have to rely on your mental training. You just do it. Like, you go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
You do it every day. Every day that you're meant to be there, you go, no matter what.
And
if you're sick, you go there, and then you tell your coach, hey, I'm sick. And the coach can decide whether you're sick or not. And then, if I feel good, I go. If I feel bad, I go. If it's hot, I go. If it's cold, I go. Whatever it was. So when you get to the fight, you're like, I deserve this. I really worked hard. Like, I spent the money to go to Brazil to train for the fight with him. I spent my own money to take my wife with me, because at least when I have one friend there, I'm all in, 100% in. There's no having a crack at it. I'm not being the best I can be on the day. I am 100% committed to this fight, and that's what I was, and that's how I am. For almost every single fight I ever had.
But that reflects on your career, though, right?
Yeah, maybe. I guess so.
Because, I mean, like, when you were telling me about the mental approach and mental training, so obviously for you, having had that Kyokushin experience from such a young age, obviously that, like, kind of created the pedigree and blueprint for the rest of your fight career, just to have that mental toughness.
Yeah, that was it. It was keep going. I don't mean keep going in training today or keep going in this tournament, it was just like, this is what I've chosen to do. I'm going to fight until I can't fight anymore, until I've achieved what I've wanted to achieve, or there's just no other possible way that I can keep going. So when I retired, my wife said to me, she said, what are you doing fighting now? You know, before, if you fought for something, make your life better. You know, the chances are that, you know, things go well, you're going to make your life better. If I win now, it was like she's saying, well, you got money, you got a family, you got all the things that you fought for. There's more of a chance of losing things now than gaining things. The only thing you're going to gain now is you're not really going to get any more famous. You're going to make a little bit more money. What are you going to do? You know, it's not like it's not going to change my life dramatically. It's not like, you know, when I first started out and saving to buy a house and, you know, a gym and all things like that. It's called, you know, there's more of a chance if something goes wrong. It could be terrible. When I started, something go wrong, who cares? You know, I'm still in the same boat.
Yeah, you don't have two daughters to go home to and go, Daddy, why did you lose?
Yeah. You know, and I fought hard for the things that I have. You know, so it's important to know what you're fighting for, but also that just keep going. It was either, you know, if I didn't, I always said to myself, I said, you know, when I was coming up through the amateurs, because sometimes, you know, I'd be fighting, especially when I went to New Zealand, you know, some Tongan or Samoan guy would be fighting and they'd just be looking at me and they had all their friends and family and everything. And I was like, fuck, these people are terrifying. You know, and they weren't scared of me. Like, you know, like I fought Clay Umatangi, Okun Umatangi's brother, and as an amateur, and Clay wasn't scared of me. He was laughing at me. You know, I was tall and I was fit and I could fight, but he hit me so hard with an overhand right that I can't remember anything until the next day. Now I won the fight, but that's how hard he hit me. And you see the video. It's I don't know if you've ever seen the video. It's kind of, I don't know, one of my most famous amateur fights because he hit me that hard. We went to put the counter and all the lights in the building went out. And to this day, everyone says my manager pulled the plug to give me an extra break. I don't know the truth. And then I went on to win the fight by points. But it's a crazy fight. But, you know, I was, you know, to say that I was terrified of this guy is an understatement.
Yeah.
You know, Clay was big. He was tough. He was a couple of years older than me. And he was stronger than me by far, man. And the amount of times I come up against fighters like that, you know, bigger, stronger, faster, you know, in my head, you know, they came from a better gym or they had more support or whatever it was. And I just go, I know I'm thinking this, but I just have to put over there for a second.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to do, and I have that mindset that I've worked as hard as I can every day in the gym. I've done the best I can, and I'm not going to fuck it up here.
Yeah.
Even if I'm scared of this guy, even if I'm worried about this guy, even if I think that, you know, his mates are going to jump me out the back. and, you know, stuff like that's, you know, happened. You know, another amateur fight I beat this guy, and all his mates are there. They're like, oh, man. And me and my coach, we went back in the change room, and it was only me and him. And I said, oh, maybe there was one more. I said, we got to get out of here, man. These guys are going to belt us. And there's like 20 of them more. And we walked out, and they're all there looking at us, and we pick up a bag. We kind of try to, you know, try to lose them going through the club. And then we go in the back car bike, jump in the car, and drive off.
Where was this?
It was in Sydney.
Yeah.
But, you know, that was the thing, you know, it's like, you got to do what you got to do to get there.
Yeah.
And, you know, people always talk about, you know, you hear all these people talk about self-belief. Yeah. I was like, well, I don't really know if I can believe in myself like that. I don't know if I'm that person. Not then, not at that age. You know, I didn't have a support system. I didn't have people telling me, you can do it, Pete. I didn't have a gym full of people who are of like-minded and who are similar to me saying, we understand you, we get you, you're part of us, don't worry. You got this brotherhood of, you know, strong people around you to look at. It was none of that. It was just me. So I just had to stay focused on that. I said, their confidence. Well, I just had to say, just put it over there. I'm just going to do this and kind of forget how I feel about myself and just do it because I really, really want to. I can't, at that time, I couldn't figure it out in my head how I could achieve a goal when I wasn't the type of person who could achieve that type of goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I guess, like, you know, earlier you told me a bit about your childhood in Sydney. And do you feel like, because you've always had to have your own back and back yourself, because you didn't have people who were like, Peter, you can do that, that kind of transferred. So you were used to doing everything yourself?
Yeah, I guess, it was a really positive thing that came out of something that was kind of quite negative.
Yeah.
It's a self-resilience, is something that's really important. It's something I'm really good at. But unfortunately, there's some other, there's a flip side to it. Is just like, everything was transitional. I'm only going to do something for you if you do something for me. And if you say, Pete, I'm only going to do something for you because I now owe you, I understood that too. I was like, yeah, I get that, man. That's cool. But then you kind of forget that there are people in the world who are just good people.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something my wife told me. She's like, I remember when I first started dating, she just did everything for me. And I said, look, stop doing so much for me. There's no way I can possibly pay you back. It's just like, you come in and you're doing all my, you do my washing from the gym and you make me lunch. And
Well,
like, what's going on? And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, you got to stop doing it. I said, I can do it. I know how to do it. She goes,
Yeah.
I do it because I want to. You don't owe me anything for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah. She's good at this guy. I was like, I remember in my head, I was always adding up what, I got to do this, I got to do that. So we're on par. I don't want to let her get too far in front. But after some time, I realized she's just a good person.
I know
And
exactly.
and after a while, it's nice to realize that there are good people in the world too. Not saying the others were bad. It's just the way that I thought.
Yeah. And I completely understand, because I'm like that with my missus. When she tries to do stuff, I'm like, hold on a second. Like, I'm used to doing everything myself.
Yeah. My missus worked very hard to be very nice to me. It's terrible.
So, just closing up, Pete, how important do you think a partner, or in your instance, how important do you think your wife has been for your career and teaching you all these little things and opening your horizon in life?
Exponentially. I mean, it's almost a cliche, if you've got a good girlfriend or good wife, it can change everything. Like, I was doing fine before I met her, but my life has got exponentially better with her. And she wasn't a girl who was interested in K1 when I met her. She wasn't interested in fighting. She wasn't interested in me.
How did you first meet her?
Her friend dragged her out to a nightclub, and I met her there, but she didn't like me. Her friend liked my. Pardon?
Was this Sydney?
No, this was in Japan. She lived in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she didn't even like me. But I was buying all the drinks, I was dancing, and I was funny, and I was friendly. So she said, "Oh, okay, we'll hang out." Then I didn't see her for a year, and then I saw her again in Tokyo, another club, and the same thing. Like, she wasn't one to go out, but her best friend, dragged her along and said, "You're working all the much. Go on, have some fun." And the second time she met, she didn't like me then either. And I still liked her, but I really tried hard to convince her. And her friends, she was like, and then her friends like, "Look, you know what? He's got a good name. He's a nice guy. He can teach you English." And she's like, "Okay." And then I picked her up on my motorbike in Japan, and her friends wrote down my number. I said, "What? Why?" I didn't think I was some kind of serial killer. It's like, everyone knows who I am. It's like, yeah, we're just being careful. And then we went to Yoyogi Park, which is the massive park in Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo.
And I brought texters and paper. I was drawing pictures and saying like that and like this, and she had a English to Portuguese dictionary, and we're trying to make out words and everything because we couldn't speak to each other.
Jeez.
Anyway, so we just kind of did that, and then after a while, she's gone, "Nah, it's too hard. You know, you come from such a different background to me. Like, she's got a massive family. You know, they all own businesses, and you know, they're all, you know, super tight, and I've got nobody." And she's like, "Yeah," and they're like, "What do you mean? Who is it?" I said, "Look, it's just me." And she's like, "Oh, it's too hard. You know, we just too different, you know." And she was like, "Look, I'm going to try for a job up at this other big factory, you know. It's outside of Tokyo. Tokyo's too expensive. I spend all my money here. You know, the rents are too high. I can't save any money." And, well, she didn't get the job. So she came back. I was like, yes! It was cool. And then when I was over in America training with Team Quest, she sent me a message saying, because she was in my house in Tokyo, had like a little terrace house in Tokyo.
Yeah.
I said, "Stay there. I'm not going to be there for a couple of months. Just stay there. It's not going to cost you anything. Might as well go there. You know, might as well use the house." So, okay. And she said, "Oh, you know, my dad wants to know what your intentions are, because I'm not the type of girl who just stays in someone's house." I said to my mate, I said to, you know, Ryan Parsons, who used to be the head coach at Team Quest in Temecula.
Oh,
I said, "Hey, Ryan, what does that mean?" And then a few of the other guys are there, some of the Brazilian guys are saying, "Hey, man, she wants to marry you." I haven't been dating her for a year. I said, "Brazilian, man, you're either in or out." So I'm talking to my mate Ryan. He's like, "Yeah, but you better go and marry her, man, or she's going to leave." "Nah, she's not going to leave. We've only been dating for a year." Everyone's like, "Nah." I'm like, "You know what? You're right. Oh, I got to go and marry her." So I went, okay. So when I started to look for a ring, and so I'll go and ask her via Skype. So when I went out and I got a tattoo on my arm.
Yeah.
And I sent a message to her, say, "Hey, jump on Skype tonight, we'll talk." And I was getting on Skype, and like today, the microphone didn't work. So I called her on my phone and looked at her on Skype. And I said, "Hey, babe," you know, we had a little chat. I said, "Oh, you like my tattoo?" She goes, "You're an idiot." I went, "Oh, fuck, this is not going to work out well." And I said, "Well, hey, do you want to get married? Want to marry me?" And she was dead silent. I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Anyway, and she said, "Yes, but in Portuguese." She went, "Sim." I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"What the fuck does that mean?" And she told me later, she goes, she couldn't remember how to say yes in English. You know, she wasn't expecting me to say anything. She certainly said she really didn't think I was going to ask her to marry her. Anyway, and then she's gone, "Sim," you know, like, I'm like, it probably was only 5 seconds, but it felt like forever. And she said yes, and, you know, happily ever after. Yeah, but, yeah, so that's our story. She's pretty cool.
Jeez.
She's probably upstairs now listening, going, "Oh, why does he keep telling people?"
So you've lived a hell of a life then, you know?
It's a life well lived.